Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the LocksOTD podcast. This is episode number 8. I'm back with Zach and Andrew, and we're here to let you know about our fire picks. Last 3 weeks, we're going 10-2 for NFL Sunday, up 18.5 units. We went 3-1 last week. We'll explain our picks from last week for you guys and how they did. Then, of course, we'll get into today's MLB NHL now, and then tennis premium picks for free for you guys. Then get into tonight's game with the 49ers versus Seahawks, give you guys a teaser, a prop, and an anytime touchdown. Then, of course, those hot Sunday locks, we got to give them to you guys. So that'll be on this pod as well. So, Andrew, let's go over last week's recap. You guys start with the Cowboys.
Yes, sir. Last week, just gonna recap on all of Sunday real quick. NFL on just Sunday strictly was up 10 units. Uh, week 5 total, so Thursday and Monday was up 13.3 units, which is great. That's what we want, profit. But my pick on Sunday was Cowboys money line plus 120, Sunday night football. Like I said, absolute sweat of a game. Crazy sweat, but the boys pulled through in the end. NFL wasn't going to let the Steelers be 4-1, let's be honest now. They weren't going to let the Steelers be the top of that AFC South division, and just like that, Ravens and them and the Steelers are tied right up. Just like
Just like
that.
the NFL wants.
Yep, just like the
Keep it
NFL.
tight. Keep it tight.
Yep.
Zach, I know you had Pats and you got Bones, so give them that one.
Yeah, I was the dunce of the week. I was the one that put the L up on the board. Disappointing to say the least, watching New England try to move the football Sunday against a Miami team that has obviously struggled the entire year. I will say though, they should have won the game, caught the pass back in the end zone. I do find it funny that you can toe tap going forward, toe tap going side to side, but if you toe tap going backwards, it's a big no-no. So even though you had 2 feet inbounds with possession, nope, doesn't count. So upsetting our only loss on the pod, but if you took the Patriots under 3.5 wins, it looks pretty good now, though.
Sure does.
It
Sure
does. That
does.
that was our future,
Hmm.
as well
Yep.
as Derrick Henry over touchdowns and Gene Reed over receptions. They're all looking really hot right now. That's for sure.
Easy.
Henry's
Easy
already
money.
almost cashing, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, come on. And Jaden Reed, he's just a freaking stud.
Dog.
But anyways, so yeah, you got robbed on the pass because that was a touchdown. I don't care what they say. But anyways, I gave out Joe Burrow 250 plus passing yards minus 120 versus the Ravens. Forget about that one. He had 392 yards, 5 touchdowns, best game of the season. I told you it was coming, guys. I told you, high scoring game. It was a lock. He's going to sling it. Then I gave you Wandale Robinson over 5.5 receptions, minus 150. That's a dub as well. All right. He cashed the over on that and got a touchdown. So he just had a great game. Big bucks, 3-1. The slate was plus 3.1 units. Not bad. And then, like I said, the last 3 weeks of NFL podcast up 18.5 units. That's big bucks. That's like hitting a plus 1850 parlay. Just straight betting our picks. That's something. But anyways, now we'll get into our premium picks for free for you guys. We'll start with MLB, go to NHL, then tennis. So Zach, kick them off, kid.
Yeah. So our 3 starts today is Royals money line. And going with the Royals, they just lost barely last night, 3-2. I don't see the Royals losing 2 games at home. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think the Yankees are making a mistake throwing Garrett Cole in game 4. I think one of the tough things about the playoffs is having the off days in between. And I think tonight, if the Yankees can't pull this off, they got to go back to Yankee Stadium for game 5 without their ace. They're going to be without him. And I think what you're seeing a lot of teams do, especially what the Tigers are doing and the Dodgers did last night, is they're doing bullpen days. They're doing bullpen days to eat up innings and to take the miles off their starting pitching. Well, the Yankees aren't doing that. Aaron Boone, not the brightest bulb in the circuit. So you're going to see tonight, Michael Wacha has some home field advantage tonight, home crowd behind him. I think you see the Royals going to win this game and they're going to push that back to New York for game 5.
Love that. That's a lock.
And then our 2 star is going to be Tigers money line. I think right now, Tigers are the hot team. Right now, they just came off another 3-0 win. They've been able to shut them down uh, in Detroit and just overall in general. I mean, the Guardians have struggled against the Tigers, which they didn't do in the regular season. And right now, I mean, if the Guardians are able to see themselves get past the Tigers somehow today, who do they have to deal with in game 5? Mr. Scooble. And that is something that I don't think they want to do. Go all the way back home, lose in front of your home fans again. I just don't see it happening. I think the Tigers are just riding the wave, almost like how the Diamondbacks rode the wave last year. An unexpected team that's all of a sudden has like 85 wins that's gonna just go from this wild card spot. Shouldn't have gotten into the World Series. And I think Tigers are way too hot to lose right now, especially at home.
Yeah, I like that one. It's just a nice underdog story, to be honest with you. It's a nice one. What are we moving on to, Angelo?
NHL kid, lock him in over
NHL?
there.
All right, so I'm going to start off with our two-star, and that's going to be the Kings, LA Kings money line minus 115. This is pretty simple. Kings playoff team, Sabres not. Kings beefed up in offseason, while the Sabres just did not. The Sabres actually let up Jeff Skinner go, who's a little bit older, but still had the both fifth most points on the team. So that's a little weird how they just let him go, even though they have a very young team that's for offense wise and defensive wise, they're super, super, super young and two young goalies too. So that's just simple right there. You got a hard hitting team in the Kings that just have a bunch of vets that get it done. They just get it done year after year. There's a gross team that you don't want to play against. And Sabres just coming back from Prague in the Global Series that just lost 2 games straight to the Devils, 3-1 and 4-1. That's just too simple. Kings money line locked that in. And now moving on to our three-star. Going with the Leafs and the Devils over 6.5, and that's a minus 120. That's strictly just two high-powered offenses, fast-moving offenses that love to shoot. Both these teams averaged over 30 shots per game last year, and both were in the top 10 for goals scored and goals against. All the Leafs and Devils know how to do is score. Devils defensively, little young, add a couple older guys, but they're injured, so doesn't really help them out right now. Like Luke Hughes, who's younger, but um he's injured, and Brett Pesce, that's his name, Brett Pesce. He's very good from the Carolina, but injured, so can't really use him too much. Devils goalie Jacob Markstrom, who came from Calgary, uh not really good against the Leafs. He's 5 and 18 and 1. So not that good, and averages giving up 3 goals against them. Uh Toronto, nasty offense. I mean, I don't even got to start naming Matthews, Marner, Nylander. Like, who else you want? They're filthy. Go to the Devils. You got Hughes, Mercer, Heishier, Brat, everyone. Like, chime in if you want, Angela, because I know that's your team, buddy. Like, they're
I'll just
filthy.
start rambling names.
I
Our
know.
offense is powerful. I mean, I love that over. You got
No,
Toronto. They're just, like you said, skill. They're just
dude,
skill. They put the puck in the net. They got goal scorers. They got everything. And then
straight skill.
Devils are just skill and speed. They might be the fastest team in the league. Like they're just going to be flying down the sides and go like shots on net, like you said. Goalies can be iffy. Markstrom's good, but like you said, not that good against the Leafs. Giving up
No.
3 goals a game. Devils average over 3 goals a game. Like, yeah, I love that over. Love.
Hmm.
And then, like you said, Kings, you got the vets versus the young guys. Sorry if you're a Giants or Browns fan, but the Sabres are kind of like the Browns or Giants. They
Yep.
just love to lose every year. Oh, the Sabres are going to be better because they get a young stud or a couple good young guys. Oh, they're going to make playoffs. More like a bottom 5 team once again. Just
Yep.
like the Browns, just like the Giants. Sorry,
Management
but
just ruins that team every single year. They look good and then they just see ya, and they just keep signing young guys and young guys and young guys. Like, you got to let them develop eventually. Like, you got to let them get older. You got to let them play more games in the league. And for
absolutely. And then
Toronto, their defense is not that good either. Like, they have some good names, but a lot of the guys are getting older. Like, you got Ekman Larson, who just came in from Florida. Yeah, Florida made him look good. It's the system that made him look good. Like, you look at any of his years, his plus minus is all the way in the minus. Like, this is his first year where he had an actual plus. It's like, bro, no. Ekman Larson's garbage for Toronto. Like, their goalies
he,
aren't the best. Like, it's weird. It's
Ekman Larson was good 10 years ago
yeah,
on the Coyotes.
exactly.
Like, I'm not worried about
Arizona,
Ekman Larson. Exactly.
yeah,
Arizona 10 years ago, he was like a top whatever defenseman you want to call him.
y-
Offensive forward, he was. He was like
exactly.
one of few really good offensive forwards. Nowadays, buns. Get him out of
And
here. But I love
for
those picks.
Toronto though, Stolarz played last night against the Habs and they lost 1-0, which is whatever. It's like a game that pretty much the Leafs like to lose. So they'll be looking at Joseph Woll tonight, who's given up 2.94 last year with a 9.07 save percentage, which isn't bad, but it's also just middle of the bottom of the of the league. And last year when he did play against the Devils twice, both the games went over 5-2, 6-3. I mean, give me
Love
3
that.
units on that. Thank you,
Love that.
please.
NHL season is back, ladies and gents. Like, you better lock these in. We love NHL.
Hmm.
Anyways, I'll move on to tennis. We only got one pick. It's in Shanghai, China. So, like I said last podcast, these plays are late night, early morning. This one literally just got moved before the podcast to 6:30 a.m. So it's not for a little while now, of course. But we got a three-star play. We got Novak Djokovic -4.5, -160, the GOAT, versus Jacob Mensik. Mensik, who is 19 years old, has been playing very well. Probably the best tennis of his life, honestly. The only issue is his best tennis doesn't compare to Novak Djokovic. Djokovic is probably the greatest player of all time. There's not much argument against it. Um, he is levels above every single player on tour right now, unless your name is Alcaraz or Sinner, which Mensik, that's not Alcaraz or Sinner. The way Djokovic plays, he's just so smart and calculated. He's probably going to pick this young kid apart. And as a young kid going up against Novak is probably going to be pretty intimidating. And he could catch himself down a few breaks early. And if that's the case, see ya. You're already done. So Joker -4.5, -160. He should cover that against a young kid. I love it. Lock that in. Anyways, now let's get on to NFL Thursday. A little Niners Seahawks action. We got the teaser for you guys. We got the teaser. Lock them in over there, kid.
Got a little teaser. Got a little teaser going with Seahawks plus 10.5 and the over of 38. That comes out to a -165. There's
Bang.
a little bit of money on them 49ers for being so shit. So let's go ahead and take the Seahawks there. Both teams coming off a loss. 49ers not looking like how everyone thought they would. 2-3. Kind of crazy. Losing at some bad teams. Pretty weird. Seahawks have actually been a very solid team. Besides last week, obviously against the Giants, which we had. Vegas knew they had to come take some money from the public. We knew that. Some of y'all didn't. That's okay.
We did say the Giants, just saying.
Yeah, we got you covered now. It's not like the Seahawks don't have any weapons either. I mean, you got DK, Lockett, Jackson Smith, Kenneth Walker, Geno Smith, no fan. Geno Smith has just been going off too, averaging 293 passing yards, which is very high. Plus, it's tonight. It's a divisional game in prime time. 10.5 points is wild. Like wild. Way too much. And it's always tougher when a team has no business being in a game and trying to explain why they should be. 49ers should on paper kill this team. Like should. But
Just won't
this
happen.
season they don't look the best, so ain't gonna happen. And especially in Seattle too. I mean, give me the points and the over.
And back to, like you said, with like tough explaining when a team shouldn't win, but we know that they will. Just like
Mhm.
last week with the Giants versus Seahawks. I remember someone DM'd us like, "Oh, why do you think Giants +8 or what?" And we're like, "No, probably Giants money line, honestly, for good value +260." And then we gave them the reasons why, and it doesn't make much sense. We were like, "Oh, Neighbors is out, line didn't move. That's Giants' best player. Why is it not moving?" Like just weird stuff. And then obviously all the money on the Seahawks, like everything just lines up. There's a bunch of weird things you have to line up, but it just lined up perfectly for the Giants to win. And that's almost like the Seahawks +10.5 or 10 points is a lot, like you said, for a divisional game and prime time. Like add both those on. It's tough stuff right there. But
Too
Zach, I know
much.
you got something over there for tonight's game.
Yeah, so I got for the prop tonight, I got Kenneth Walker under 59.5 rushing yards. And I honestly love it. It's gonna be a +110, so you're getting a nice little
Plus on there. But I think what you're going to see is I think you're going to see the Niners go up early. I think one of the Seahawks' biggest weaknesses is their defense, that they let up a lot of points. But when they go down, usually by 7 points to 10 points, what do? They're slinging it. They go away from the run game, and Geno Smith is throwing, throwing, throwing. And don't be surprised, too, Geno Smith can also run with the ball. And Zach Charbonnet, their other running back, has also been getting carries as well. One of my other reasons why I'm looking at this as well is because the 49ers run defense has been very good. They've been a little bit injured this year on defense, but they're solid defensively. And Kenneth Walker in his games against the 49ers just has been kind of eh. He's been teetering on and off. And I think the other reason, too, I'm looking at this is because Kenneth Walker has had injury issues this year. He's pretty much been hurt, not hurt every other week. Last week against the Giants, when he came back, got a couple carries. His issue was, they went down early. Once they went down early, they went away from the run game. They started doing the same thing against the Lions. They would only give him a couple carries here and there. He just busted off a few nice runs. So, I mean, I think tonight you're going to see him against one of the best run defenses in the NFL. You're going to see him struggle. They're going to go to that air game, and that's how Seattle's going to keep this one close.
Love it.
Geno Smith slinging almost
Slinging.
300 yards per game. Love it. Anyways, going to lock you in on a little anytime touchdown tonight. All right. I know it's not the team we have plus 10.5. It doesn't matter. There's going to be a lot of points. Debo Samuel, anytime touchdown, plus 120. Chalk it up as a dub, okay? He hasn't been playing great because he's coming off an injury. They're easing him in a bit, whatever. This week, he's back in full form. Lock it in. CMC being out benefits Debo the most, not including Jordan Mason, of course, because he's the actual other running back. But Debo's the only other wide receiver that actually runs the ball. So he's the one that's going to benefit the most from CMC being out. Now he's going to be back fully. I expect him to have a big game. It's going to be a high-scoring game, like I said, and he's going to be a part of it. So expect Debo Samuel to find the end zone, plus 120. Cha-ching. Anyways, now we're going to move on to NFL Sunday. What's hot? We can't miss on this, okay? So let's lock them in, boys. We're not missing. It's a little sweep incoming.
Yeah, this is an easy sweep right here.
Easy sweep. We
Sunday.
love this.
Sunday, easy money. Pack your bags. We're going to London. We're taking the Jags money line plus 110. They're playing shit, I don't even know who they're playing. I forgot who they're playing.
Doesn't matter.
Bears, the
Jags
Bears,
is
Bears,
London's
Bears.
team, buddy.
The Bears. Get them out of here. Yeah, so Jags, London is their second home, basically. I mean, they've played the most amount of games in London, dating back to 2013. They're 6-5 there across the pond, and they're 2-0 in Tottenham Stadium, where the game will be held. Jags are going up against a Bears team coming off 2 wins. Don't be trapped thinking the Bears are good. They're not. They've beaten teams like the Titans, the Panthers, and the Rams. They all have a combined record of 3-12. Okay. Compared to the Jags, who have honestly only had one real loss, and that's against the shitty Browns. So, they've lost the first 4 games, but if you look at the games, they're kind of close. Just like what was it? They played the Texans, they only lost by 4. Like that's a fine game. Like in Houston too. Like come on.
Jags are just starting to cook up too. Just saying. They're just starting to heat up. They're not a great team, but we'll just say the Bears aren't the best either. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah, and Houston was looking a little weaker like the past 2 weeks too. So like 4 points, it's just a weird game too, and divisional. But going back to the Bears, not a fan of Caleb Williams. Very inconsistent passing. Doesn't look comfortable in the pocket, and that's why he gets sacked so much. Chicago is also a high penalized team, averaging 7 flags per game. Most likely holding to keep Williams safe, which is, I mean, that kid just needs to learn how to run a little bit and he'll be fine. And let me tell you about someone on the Jags, Tank Bigsby. That dude is a dog. Stepping in for ETN, Bigsby has 20 less carries, but 40 more yards. He's slowly moving himself to the RB1 right now, but ETN being out and injured. He's averaging over 8 yards per carry, which is just stupid. Like, absolutely stupid. I think they're just going to run it down their throat. Money line plus 110. Give me a little underdog. Keep the points. How you doing?
Love it. Love Tank Bigsby.
Mhm.
Beast. And I don't even think ETN's injured or out. Bigsby just literally took more carries last game. He's the better
questionable.
back.
He's questionable.
If ETN doesn't, no matter what, Bigsby should be RB1 in Jacksonville. Just
Yeah.
saying. Like, numbers don't lie. Kind of like how Bucky Irving in Tampa Bay, his
Mhm.
numbers are a little better than Rashad, but that's besides the point. Anyways, Zach, lock him in, kid.
Yeah, so my Sunday pick this week, I've got Steelers minus 2.5, minus 145 against the Raiders. And I think right now the Raiders are just struggling. They came off a game last week
Where you saw them up 10 against the Broncos, and they almost lost by 20. They got shelled. They just also made a QB change this week. And I think that was one of my big things. Aiden O'Connell, maybe a little bit better than Gardner Minshew, but not the time to change your quarterback when you are playing the best defense in the NFL. On top of that, too, the Raiders have struggled on defense as well, and the Steelers offensively have been finding it. You know, they've been averaging more points than what they did last year. And they also don't have to score a lot of points when they go into these games because their defense is so good. Justin Fields has done a great job of not turning the ball over, making the plays needed to win these games. And I think right now the Raiders are searching for a win. But after seeing the Steelers lose last week in a big primetime game against the Cowboys, I think you're going to really see them bounce back this week, take a little win in Oakland, and then, you know, you might even see a little George Pickens touchdown in there, but who knows?
A little NFL young boy action. Get him in the end zone. Anyways, back to some props. Sweeping on props. We're going to sweep this week, and here we go. You ready? A little 3-star. Here it is. Zay Flowers, 50-plus receiving yards, minus 150. He averages 53.8 yards per game. He's Lamar's clear number one wide receiver, and Lamar is going to sling it this week once again, just like he did last week. Ravens are going to be scoring a lot of points, and Zay will have to be heavily involved in the offense for that to happen because, like I said, he's the number one. Commanders' defense has given up a lot of yards to opposing teams' wide receiver ones as well. Only wide receiver one to get less than 50 yards was Marvin Harrison Jr., who got 45. Mike Evans got 61. Chris Godwin got 83, so two on the same team. Depends on who you want to call wide receiver one there. They're both doing good. Neighbors got 127, his best game of the season. Chase got 118, his best game of the season besides last week's, so second best game. And then Amari Cooper got 60. So Zay Flowers, I think he's getting at least 50. Minus 150 in a high-scoring game. 50 yards, like, come on. Your number one dude, he's going to do it. Lock that in. Then the second prop lock we got from Detroit, 2-star, Jameson Williams, 40-plus receiving yards, minus 160. Love Jameson Williams. Love this guy. He has done this 3 of his 4 games so far this season. His only game he didn't get 40-plus, Jared Goff threw for less than 200 passing yards. So that's why. This game's over-under is set at 52, which is the highest of the week. So I don't think Goff's going for under 200 yards this week, just saying that as well. Jameson averages 72.25 yards per game. So 32 more yards per game than he needs to cash his bet. That's insane. Almost double. And then he also averages 22.2 yards per catch, which is basically saying he needs 2 catches to cash this over. Last year against the Cowboys, he put up 69 yards. So he would have cashed for these. And simply, Jameson is just a stud. He's a stud on the field. He was the number one wide receiver drafted in the class from Bama. And he got 11 targets and 9 targets in his first 2 games. So if he gets that this game, you can cash that over in the first half. Just saying. So make sure you lock all these props in for Sunday. Lock in the teaser tonight. Lock in the prop for tonight. And lock in the anytime touchdown for tonight. And all the premium picks, those are going to cash too, fellas. All right? So you guys got anything else for them?
I think I'm good. I'm all set.
Good. I think we're all set.
Perfect. So we'll wrap up the pod here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to episode number 8, and we will be back next Thursday. Get those picks in. Peace.